Okay, so we are going to look at special products of binomial multiplication. This is going to be what we did last week when we multiplied binomials. They're just going to either start out looking a little differently, or the answer is going to look a little different than what we got last week. So you know how to do everything we're doing today. It's just going to be either the answer is going to be different or the problem's going to start out looking different. Okay, so what I want you to do first, and I want you to look at these 4 problems, and you can do these. This is what we did last week. I want you to pause the video. I want you to work out these 4 problems, and then I want you to turn your video back on and check your answers, and we'll talk about them. Okay, so here are my 4 answers. I got n squared minus 9, n squared minus 144, 4n squared minus 81, and 9n squared minus 100. Notice that these, when you multiplied these, your answer was a binomial. Normally, when we've been multiplying 2 binomials, our answer has been a trinomial. So what's the difference? Well, what I also hope you notice is that each binomial looks exactly the same, except one's a plus and one's a minus. So n plus 3, n minus 3, n plus 12, n minus 12, 2n plus 9, 2n minus 9. They look exactly the same, except one's a plus and one's a minus. So what happens is that those 2 inner terms, whether you use the box method or distribute, and I just distributed on all of these, you end up with a positive term and a negative term that are like terms, and they cancel. So I ended up here with a minus 12n and a plus 12n. That cancels. Minus 18n plus 18n cancels. So when you have 2 binomials that look exactly the same except for a plus and a minus, the 2 middle terms should cancel and you end up with this, okay? We're going to refer to this later, but just to sort of put it out there so you can be thinking of it, this is called a difference of squares. N squared is a perfect square, 9 is a perfect square. Down here, 9n squared is 3n, quantity squared, and 100 is 10 squared. So the square roots of these 2 numbers are what's up here in our binomial, okay? That's for later, but what you need to know right now is that when the 2 binomials look exactly the same except for a plus and a minus, you should end up with a binomial, and it's going to be a difference of the squares of your 2 terms in the binomials. Okay, now this is a binomial squared, k plus 5 quantity squared. And your brain is going to want to do something here that's going to give you an incorrect answer. So look and listen very carefully about how you need to handle this. What does it mean to square something? Well, it means to multiply it by itself, right? So k plus 5 quantity squared is k plus 5 times k plus 5, right? Now it looks like what we've been doing. This is 2 binomials multiplied together. So you can use the box method, you can use the distributive property. I'm going to use distributive property here. K times k is k squared, k times 5 is 5k, not x. 5 times k is 5k, 5 times 5 is 25. These 2 will combine, and I end up with k squared plus 10k plus 25. So when I square a binomial, I get a trinomial. All right, I'm going to do this one down at the bottom, the 9k minus 2 quantity squared. When you square something, that means to multiply it by itself, okay? So I'm going to distribute 9k times 9k is 81k squared. 9k times negative 2 is negative 18k. Negative 2 times 9k is negative 18k, and negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So I can simplify this. My negative 18k minus 18k is negative 36k plus 4. Okay, so when you square a binomial, you get a trinomial. So I want you to pause the video and I want you to do the 2 over here. K minus 8 squared, 3k plus 4 quantity squared. When you get done, turn the video back on and we'll check your work. Okay, so for k minus 8 quantity squared, I got k squared minus 16k plus 64. For 3k plus 4 quantity squared, I got 9k squared plus 24k plus 16. A couple of things to notice. Notice that if the binomial is addition, then your middle term will also be addition. If the binomial is subtraction, your middle term will be subtraction. Notice the last term is always positive. The last term will always be positive. The first term will always be positive. Couple other things to notice. I have k and k squared. I have 5 and 25 is 5 squared, right? I have 9k and 81k squared. Those are squares. And 2 and 4. Those are squares. Just some things to notice about when you square the binomial, but the real important part that you don't want to mess up is don't lose this middle term, okay? And the way you don't lose the middle term is you rewrite the square as the binomial times itself, okay? So we're ready to do some practice, and I will see you soon.